Hello and welcome to Perspectives. About a few days ago, the US magazine Foreign Policies termed Karachi the most dangerous mega city in the world. The Karachi I grew up in was fantastic, was tolerant, was moderate. We could go out in the middle of the night and feel safe. We could party all night. We could go to the beach middle of the night and nothing would go wrong. We were young, we were teenagers, and we enjoyed a beautiful Karachi. Karachi which was peaceful, loving, the city of lights, buzzing and bustling, and it was a fantastic city. Just within our lifetime, even part of our lifetime, twice I've heard US magazines calling Karachi, the most dangerous city of the world. Why are these statements made about Karachi? I would like to believe there's always a bigger agenda and purpose to when these statements are made. The last time it was made on a very, very strong global magazine. It was a front title. And when you actually read the news item inside the magazine, the line did not repeat, to the best of my memory. So the impact on the cover was immense. At airports, at stalls, at newsstands, on the internet, everybody who saw the title of that magazine saw Karachi, the most dangerous city in the world. And again, the same statement comes out, Karachi, the most dangerous mega city in the world. So tonight's topic, after a lot of deliberation, my guest, I'm going to find a better phrase for tonight's show, was mega city, Karachi. Karachi is a mega city with phenomenal potential, not just for the country, but for the world. Yet, for external or internal reasons, this has become the most dangerous city in the world. So we'll talk about that, why this is so, and its impact on the country. Is a country whose mega city is the most dangerous city in the world, I'm sure it has impact on the country as well. My guests on my right, after a long time, thank you very much, Dr. Arif Alvi, representing Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm doing politics after a long time. Since the election, I didn't do this, so I'm back into this form. Thank you. On my left, representing INQM, Mr. Ali Raza. Thank you very much, Raza. On my far left, editor, the news, Mr. Amir Zia. Thank you very much. And on telephone from Islamabad, we have Ms. Maiza Hamid, representing PMLN. Maiza, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Ali, I'd like to start with you. Since you are probably the forefront of, may I say, complaints and, not complaints, of grievances. So why a city whose almost complete ownership you claim? Why is the city called the most dangerous city in the world?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you. The reasons behind it are quite obvious to the media also, and I think to the rest of the country and the population, and as that you're saying that an American magazine is calling it such, because the reports on a daily basis going out of Karachi are not very good. It is a cosmopolitan city which holds about 20 million people, and more than that, in fact. And it is overburdened with a lot of with a population that is constantly growing, and the resources meeting that population are not enough or sufficient. And since the influx of a lot of people from upcountry, from north, from disturbed areas of the northern sides, when as they have come into Karachi with them, and also with some local people over here who've been residing here, have taken up some criminal...
With apology, I'd like to interject. That is the definition of any mega city of the world. That is the definition of any large port city of the world. What's so unique about Karachi that makes it the most dangerous city?
You see, I guess then it's the political power hold that others are aspiring to take over in Karachi, not respecting the mandate of the population.
And who are these others?
These are other parties that have tried and attempted to win the people by whatever means, such as I'll give you an example of KP, where the Taliban, the TTP, before the elections, caused an environment in which it was ANP was not able to contest the
All right.
elections, and so they had given way to another party to come over and take over that province and govern it. Similarly, in Karachi, it's the same dynamics that there are other parties that have come in, and by hook or crook, or even by winning hearts, they try to take over the megapolis, and from here, what they do is they try to, spread their roots, spread their tentacles, and in whichever way they want to do it. I mean, if there are criminals that they have to.
We were talking earlier. I don't know why we are shy of taking names. The Padosi Mulk is India. There's no harm saying that. So the only two parties who probably have a stake in Karachi is ANP and People's Party. Which one are you referring to? One is your old coalition.
See, I'm starting off with ANP because in 2007, if we remember, there was a call for identification of Talibanization in Karachi, which was happening and which was rapidly growing. ANP unfortunately gave them shelter, and then in the end, before the 2013 elections, it was ANP that voted that beat them out.
No, number one, Faisal, the issue is that there has been a turf war going on for political dominance, and because the financial stakes in the city are so huge, so all the major political parties they are trying to carve out a turf for themselves. Those who have already turf, they are trying to expand, and then there are new players, as Mr. Abdi Saab has said, that who are trying to expand and make some sort of a foothold over here. But the bigger problem is that the crisis in Karachi is the crisis of the state of Pakistan. And that starts from that the writ of the state has eroded. And when the writ of the state erodes, what happens that the state institutions like police, security forces, they are unable to fulfill their responsibilities. And as a result, we see chaos, mayhem, anarchy, and lawlessness. And in which I would say all the major political parties are responsible. And the process, the current crisis has started. If we have to, identify some starting point, that is with the return of democracy in 2008.
Sure.
If we see the numbers of crime and killings from 2001, or rather 2000 till 2007, we see that, there was some sort of a stability. There was some sort of a control in crime. Come democracy, and we have Pakistan People's Party and Muttahida Qawmi Movement as partners in Sindh province, we see that even those political forces which were allies, including the ANP, they started a turf war. And although their top leadership were trying to give the image that there is no conflict and they are one, they couldn't translate that vision into their workers. So, and that started reflecting in the mid-level later, and finally to the top level also. So, one is the rate of the erosion of the rate of the state. Two, all the major political parties are acting as villains in this conflict, and unfortunately, we are still looking for a hero.
When you said there's a turf war, political turf war, where does the crime figure into this? Crime is crime. Politics is done with winning people's hearts. Politics is done with service, with work, or with sheer politics. But there seems to be a turf war for criminal control of this city and country as well.
The issue is that politicization of crime and criminalization of politics, right? So that has been the main bane for the city. When people commit crime, they give it such political color. And there has been an injection of crime in our politics. And nobody can deny this fact.
Okay.
Right? And what we see that criminal elements have taken refuge under the banner of this or that political party. It could be ANP, it could be the
They have taken refuge movement. Or they've been given refuge?
Given refuge or taken refuge. I mean, both. Both things happen hand in hand. They move in tandem. So, then that is the issue. We have seen that a place like Liari, which was hub of the democratic movements in the 80s, we have seen the criminalization of that entire neighborhood, thanks to the ruling Pakistan People's Party, which has patronized Aman Committee, the so-called Aman Committee. So, everybody has a role. And the biggest, another, I think the major problem is that the role of the state institutions, what they have been doing for the last couple of decades, that they are sponsoring or supporting or patronizing one political group of, or one group of criminals against the other. So there never had been a fair, impartial, even-handed operation in the city.
Was that Freudian? Because you just said politics and criminals in one breath. Dr. Saab?
Let me suggest, when you are talking about the downfall of Karachi, actually economically as well as politically, as well as the increase in the number of crimes, let me suggest a logistical flow of events. If you remember, historically, Ayub Khan shifted the capital out of Karachi, and in his Friends of Not Masters, he made a statement that the capital will be moved out of Karachi because business tends to be corrupt. There's a lot of corruption in Karachi, therefore the capital is going to Islamabad. And Karachi really felt that. Karachi felt that the capital should not have been shifted. East Pakistanis felt that the capital should not have been shifted because then they would come by sea to Karachi, and from Karachi they would go to Islamabad. That, I think, that started the whole thing. Then, in the decades of the 60s, I remember my father, and if you remember some good names who struggled for Pakistan, Mr. Hussain Imam, who was the member of the Central Executive Committee of the Pakistan Muslim League, Rizwanullah Saab, and so many others. They felt that the migrants are not getting a good deal because they had claims, and the claims were, their land holdings were being reduced from a maximum of whatever they left in India to 36,000 units, to 30,000 units, to 6,000 units. So there was a huge disgruntlement in my father's, among my father's friends, and they tried to move things in a better direction. Then in the 70s, I felt that there was no ownership of Karachi. If I went to Lahore and I studied in Lahore, I saw that if the race course was moved out of the center of Lahore, it turned into a park. You see, the roads were kept clean. There was no encroachments. In Karachi, it seemed during Mr. Bhutto's time with Jam Sadiq Saab being here, it was a bureaucracy of plutocracy. In fact, I suggest to people even a statement I made about 6 years ago when I was sitting in Beach Luxury Hotel and I looked at the mangroves, and I asked somebody, "Do you know what does it look like?" He said, "These are mangroves." I said, "No. To corrupt politicians, this looks like plots." And actually that has happened. You see, the mangroves are being encroached upon every day, and societies are being built up. Then you remember the language riots?
Sure.
That was one extremist seed which was sown in Karachi. And then Mr. Ziaul played armed political parties to fight against each other because in that was the security of this government. But then comes the democratic era. Karachi did not, no, the last 20 years.
All right.
Karachi, by now Karachi did not belong to anybody. Whoever came to Karachi, whichever party came to Karachi was looking at plots, at lands, and there was tremendous migration into the city. Comes war and terror. You see, what was happening in Zia's time in Afghanistan, multiplied many times, started happening again in Afghanistan. Now, first it was against the Soviets, now it was against them, and arms started flowing in. Now coming to the last decade, which we have seen, there has been irresponsible government. There have been irresponsibility by political parties who own Karachi. I'm sorry, but if you have to make a statement, you have to make a statement. People, the political parties in government, we were not in government. Had we been in government, maybe we would have taken some of the blame. We were not in government, but you cannot absolve yourself from what has happened. Now, coming to the turf war, I distinctly, and I am very sure that there is a turf war going on, and people do not want to give parts of Karachi up. Did you know? I think a news item came in the news some time ago that Karachi daily suffers a loss of 83 crore rupees in corruption, and that includes 15,000 gambling dens, which may be giving 10 or 20,000 rupees daily for corruption. There is kidnapping for ransom. There is stealing. There is land grabbing every day, and that amounts to 83 crore rupees per day. You see, that's illegal money, and that is up for grabs. You see, that is very important because now the criminalization of politics and politics of criminals.
It's a turf war for crime.
Money. crime, everything.
Illicit.
And political parties, criminals go into political parties. Some political parties start owning that because of the turf war. He's my man.
Let me take Maza. Maza, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Maza, Mia Shabazz Sharif has done some phenomenal work in Lahore. I would be a complete hypocrite if I did not admit that today when you land into Lahore, you get in a car, come out of the airport, it feels like a different country. The landscaping, it's phenomenal work, no doubt. But even though PMLN got a fantastic mandate, there was no mandate for them in Sindh. Now the question is, will this tenure see a revival of Karachi's glory? Because if it doesn't, then I do not know what your next mandate will be like, and what is the stability and prosperity of Pakistan if Karachi keeps on bleeding the way it does. How do you see that?
Faisal, first of all, I'd like to say that it's pretty sad and tragic that the president in the last government and the chief minister were all from Sindh, and the federal government was with the Sindh government, and they could have done a lot for Karachi, but there was no. I don't think there was a significant difference in the kind of governance that took place in the last 5 years, and it's pretty sad that government has come back. But then we have to work with the reality that this country has, and PMLN chief objective right now is to bring in economic stability. Whenever our government comes, our priority is basically economic stability. That leads to everything else. But we are facing terrorism, and we are facing whatever we are facing in Karachi. And after the 18th Amendment, unfortunately, the government that has gotten the major mandate has run that province. I hope if they haven't learned from the last government, where they've not gotten any votes in the rest of Pakistan, and now they're just in Sindh, I think they need to perform. For us, we have a limited power in Sindh now. We can take all parties on board. We can take their suggestions, which Mia Nawaz Sharif has done, and we want them to perform, and we can help them. But we can't dictate as to how the chief executive of this province will deliver. So I feel that if the chief minister feels that the next time they have to come, they should perform, and we are all we will cooperate all we can for Sindh government, even if it is from a different party.
Okay. Now I have to comment. I have to say this here, that 18th Amendment is just technicality as far as a citizen of this country is concerned. As far as a young individual of this country is concerned, no matter what political party says, whatever, every political party today is seen as a political party and party to the situation. No matter what amendments and what constitution stands, I think the society, the nation, the country, and even the world is now looking at whoever the leadership is to resolve this for Karachi and for Pakistan. You will have to agree, Maiza, that Karachi cannot keep on bleeding like this without hurting Pakistan. So my question, beyond the technicalities, what is the offering? And I'm opening it to all of you, MQM, PTI, even that they have some stake in the government in direct or indirect forms. Unfortunately, People's Party is not represented here tonight. So Maiza, beyond the technicalities, what's the fate?
I think if Mia Nawaz Sharif went to Karachi and he took every party on board, and they gave in suggestions, and they were on the same page as far as what should be done to bring peace in Karachi. Now that we've started the implementation process, now that the parties have disagreements, and these parties have been in power for the last 5 years, and they haven't said anything regarding Karachi. But when they were in government, now that their own people are getting passed, they're making a lot of hue and cry. I wonder how much of sincerity these parties have with the people, or just their own MNAs and MPs. they have to prioritize if they want relief for their own people who voted for them, or just the people who've gotten elected and or their own party. So I've already earlier said that federal government is very sincere in their efforts to bring in peace in Karachi. If Karachi does not have, the rest of the country cannot have peace, because Karachi is an economic hub. It is our priority that this economic hub becomes peaceful. And as someone said earlier, that there's so much money that is going down the drain because of corruption.
Sure.
We need to sort that out. But 18th Amendment, Faisal, is a reality. We have delegated power to the provinces, and we need the cooperation and sincerity of the province for us to bring in results. So we are not blaming anyone, but we want cooperation, we want sincerity, and we will obviously go on with the operation, even if these political parties are involved or their people are involved. We want peace in Karachi, and our priority is the people of Karachi, not people in different parties. So it is a cross-party operation, and we have a straight line thinking, and we're not thinking about the political leadership right now. We're thinking about the people of Karachi and what is going on there.
Okay, I need to take a short break. Maiza has I think almost very directly pointed a finger towards MQM, because all parties were on board before the operation, and today I think there were 2 press conferences I saw from MQM opposing or commenting on the frankness of this operation. So we'd obviously take Mr. Abdi's comment. Another thing I'd like to discuss after the break is international press, which I opened the show with, says a lot of things. I would like to request Mr. Amir, who's a journalist, not a veteran, but a senior journalist, to comment on why does our media, whether it's print or TV or electronic or social media, does not take on such comments with the way it should. I think we become defensive and shy about it. There was no counter assault from us when such a careless statement is made by International Magazine. Let's take a short break. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Perspectives. We're having an off-air conversation. Talks have been no longer off-air, but there is nothing unique about the off-air. It's just a sadness which grips all of us at the state of affairs. Mr. Abdi, I think there's a finger pointing directly at you, because you're, if I'm right, I'm the only party who is actually showing grievance against the operation. I would like you to comment on that, and I would like you to also comment, because it is not taken very lightly anymore when Karachi is a mega city. Even if you shut Nawab Shah down for 2 hours, I don't think the society takes it lightly anymore. And yes, there was an episode which people don't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll start off with the turf war segment that we were talking about. Especially when when you're living at a place and it is your property, and when you've been living here since ages, and other people try to come in and take over your place, which it belongs to you, for which you're a stakeholder, then obviously there is resistance for it.
When so you like takeover, you say, please elaborate. What do you mean by takeover?
See, such as, for example, you take the example of Leari and the Kachi Bradri. The Kachis that have been living over there are being forced to move out from there. That includes Kharadar also.
Forced by violence.
Forced by violence to leave the areas, to sell off their properties at cheap prices, and then move on to the inner of the cities or wherever. Similarly, it's been happening from North Nazimabad side also, the Pahadi areas, the mountainous areas where people are moving in. We see grenades being thrown out at people's homes. We have kidnapping for ransom. We have variety of criminal activities.
So fight for land.
That's basically, if it is fight for land, but these are the methods being used for it.
Fine.
Okay. With respect to the event that happened yesterday and the day before, at Hedri, Nadeem Hashmi Bhai, He was a UC councillor over there also, and he was an ex-MPA also who ended term on the 11th of May. And everybody knows him in that area, right? So, and he's been living there since long. He's an engineer by profession and a well-known personality. According to the police, he shot two policemen and then came back at his home, and he was sitting over there having dinner with his wife, and the police comes in and picks him up because of orders that they had received. But
orders they have received
from whoever, like they say themselves that we have upar se aaya.
Okay.
So upar se aaya.
Well,
Sorry?
Do you have a suspicion upar ka kya, what does upar mean?
Upar zahir is the ruling government. Who else?
Okay.
But
okay, we'll let Maiza comment on that.
Yes, yes. No, the ruling provincial government.
Provincial government.
The ruling provincial government.
All right.
Because Maiza is, I'm sure, not aware of the exact dynamics of Karachi, and I request
the whole
them.
country is very well aware of the dynamics of Karachi.
No, they are not. They're only aware of the news that is coming out of it.
Fine.
Okay. So Nadeem Hashmi was at his home. Two police officers were killed.
No, all that.
Let me tell you. There's a link to it.
But my question
Two other men, a father and son, were killed within a half an hour difference from a very little further away. Bori son and father, and then another sectarian incident happened within that area.
But why the rioting?
Which rioting? The rioting the day after that. You're saying that I'm again trying to tell you that this is all a plan. There was a conspiracy. It was by killing the sectarian, killing Boris, and then killing the policemen, and then arresting Nadeem Hashmi. Okay, taking him into custody before and filing FIRs before that, and then taking him into custody. Okay,
and then the rioting.
And no, the rioting actually, that is what I'm trying to tell you, that it is not MQM that had called for this strike. Okay. It is not party policy to be continuing to be rioting or to be closing it down. But we do have the democratic right of holding strikes, and we do have the right of any political party.
Maiza just now. 18th Amendment is a technical.
I think that, going to believing in the system should be the thing here. If they think they've been wrong, they should have gone to the court and they should have proven themselves as not guilty, and then they should have come out instead of just closing down and stalling Karachi. It's not the solution. I think they should have believed in the system. If the police is not being fair, I'm sure the judiciary will be independent and is fair.
Which is fair. But my comment is that, like the 18th Amendment, in my view, is a technicality. It is a reality, but technical. So, their right to protest, PTI's dharnas, I was like almost abusively against that. You disturb peace, I hate you. And I was very vocal, and Dr. Saab's son is a very dear friend of mine, and he said, why there's blocking roads, get out of my way. So, technically, I can do a lot of things, but this is 2013. Should anyone be doing this? No. But you're disowning that, so you're not taking ownership of that.
No.
So fine. Amir Saab, why are...
Let me ask this question, that why did it happen just one day after
No, but Ali is saying that it was a setup.
Why didn't it happen before?
No, but Ali is saying it's a setup.
At the same time, I think that the government there has also completely failed to establish this date, because they could not open Karachi up. And I don't think they have any power to actually implement what they're going to go and implement. So
okay.
I mean, they could not open Karachi up. The reality is that even People's Party does not have any hold in the area.
Okay,
so
let's take Ali,
I'm doubting how much of this operation will be, effective.
Ali, come.
See, when in the morning, when already, like I was telling you off the air about the SMS that was circulating, making rounds, telling people that there might be a big problem coming up in Karachi. Obviously, there was chaos created, and the people, anybody or whoever was receiving the SMS went immediately to the schools and got their children back, got them out.
So chaos was created,
and we disowned that chaos. Chaos was created, and then in Karachi, normally things open up around 10 or 11 o'clock, and businesses open up around 8 o'clock. The shop owners and the rest of them.
But the day was lost. The
city
never opened up.
No, if they did, by 2 o'clock, Karachi was back open, and almost all of the city.
We disown that, we keep it there, but the city, did not open up.
We disown the violence, we disown the calling of the strike also.
Okay. Amir Saab, why do we not take on... maybe I should save it for a little later. I'll take your comment on this, but I do want you to comment before we end the show tonight. Why does the media not take on such ruthlessly rude statements about a beautiful city and this country, and we just kind of shy away and sit quietly about it.
Faisal, it is not the question of reacting. Number one is that when international media is saying something and they are calling Karachi the most dangerous city, so is the local media. We are also doing the same. Karachi is one of the most dangerous cities of the world.
Have you been to Philippines lately?
No, I mean, let's talk about Karachi. We are saying we are saying one of the most dangerous. So I'm just correcting the phrase that Karachi is one of the most
dangerous mega city in the world.
And then look at the numbers. Since 2008, on an average, more than 1,500 to 1,800 people are being killed in the city every year. In 2012, the figure was around 2,500.
Interjecting as a friend, a city of 20 million people. If I take any city of that magnitude, let's take numbers and average regular crime, because have you noticed in Karachi there is no crime anymore.
We should not live in self-denial.
No, I'm not living in denial. I have a point.
It is denial.
I have a point. Hear me. Have you noticed statistically in Karachi there is no crime anymore? It's only targeted killing.
No, because
the crime rate is zero.
No, why? Who is saying this? Who is saying
because every death is a target killing. There is no crime.
No, there is a distinction. Whenever there is a murder because of personal enmity or things like that, we know that it is a murder.
Happens.
And the second thing, you are saying that zero crime rate? I wonder.
No.
I mean, look at the number of car thefts over here.
You're missing the point.
Kidnapping for ransom.
You're missing the point. We're saying we put everything under the umbrella of political target killing terrorism. Where's the regular crime? If we were Los Angeles, if Chicago had 13 people killed in 25 minutes?
Because the simple reason is that this big news is burying all the other news. Now, mobile phone snatching, car theft, it is no longer news because people are being killed. What do you think? I mean, we always go for the chronology of events. I think we should be talking more about the solutions. We all know the plight of Karachi. We all know what are the problems. So I think we should use such forums to talk about the proposed solutions. What can be done to improve the situation? And getting back to your question, that why the local media doesn't react. The thing is that international media is not lying. That we have to improve ourselves. We have to bring order. We have to end this chaos and mayhem, and we have to end this lawlessness. Until we do that. Unfortunately, people are going to.
We talk in abstract terms regarding writ of state, and this has happened and that has happened. I think there must be some responsibility going somewhere. It's very easy for me if, for example, in PTI phase in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, I will say this happened, this happened, this happened. I should have the ability to say that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf did this wrong and did that wrong. That is where responsibility. Yes. That is where responsibility comes into a political party. Number one. Number two is that I would like to take advantage of Ali Raza Abdi Saab being here and to move this towards a constructive dialogue and what can be done. He has suggested that this was all a conspiracy why the strike happened, but then that means the people are misunderstanding what happened. So it is up to him to convince the people that this was a conspiracy which happened simultaneously in Karachi, Hyderabad, Mirpur Khas and Sakkar. So it's very difficult to understand that there's a conspiracy without an MQM element being involved in taking to the streets and shutting down the city. Therefore, now let's go to the positive side. If this can happen with MQM, which is a very disciplined party, they must have a session among their own leadership that if next time something like this happens, Karachi should not be shut down. Let them take the leadership of improving upon the losses of Karachi. Karachi is already bleeding in so many ways, economically bleeding, physically bleeding, in every meaning of that word. And estimates are from site, the chairman of the site association mentioned 15 billion rupees of loss. Somebody mentioned 10 billion rupees of loss. It's MQM city, it's my city, it's your city. So let them take the leadership and say no more strikes. If there is a strike happening, they should come on the air right away and start telling. And I'm sure it's a disciplined party. If it takes initiative to stop a strike, the strike can stop. So I want to hand over this suggestion to Ali Raza, and I'm sure he's a young man. There is a responsible leadership in MQM also. So why do you deliberate on that?
Exactly. Thank you on that trust. But if you're saying about Hyderabad, Mirpur Khas, Sakhar, and Karachi going down at the same time, then there was a period. I mean, then people do react also. There is a population that does vote for MQM and has been voting since 1984, since the elections have been taken 86, since the elections have been taking place. So a vote bank, and they understand that, and they have been bitten before also. Like when we called for the army, it wasn't an easy thing to say, because MQM was the only party that had suffered the most, as a civilian party, suffered the most with the
No doubt.
army during the 90s. All right, and it wasn't that easy for us to ask for the army, but for the sake of the securities and the sanctity and the lives of the residents of these cities, and especially the business, the economic activity of Pakistan, which is carried out in Karachi. In order to control that and in order to keep that safe, we had asked for the army to come in. Only because we did not trust in the Rangers, like we don't do right now also with the operations. We had given our reservations to PMLN in the beginning also, that you may want and we may want to have this operation absolutely fair and absolutely clear, so that it is absolutely transparent. But there will be forces that will try to tilt it towards make it into impartial, and when that happens, then the whole meaning of the operation goes down, or this targeted action goes away.
I mean, do you agree that the grievance MKM has, and there were two press conferences today, at least the ones I saw, are they justified, or they should, like Myra said, their recourse is to go to the legal system?
As a political party, they have every democratic right to protest and to express their reservations. One can disagree or agree with the mood of their protest, as we have been doing right now, okay, whether they should hold a strike or...
But you feel there's bias in the operation.
And the thing is that, getting back to the solution, and it is directly linked to whether the operation is biased, even-handed or fair.
Sure.
The problem in Karachi is one of the main problems that our police has become politicized. It is a corrupt institution. It is a non-performing institution. And whenever there is a law and order question, police should be act like as a vanguard. They should be taking the lead, not the rangers. I mean, that is the most stating a very obvious thing.
Unfortunate situation.
It's an unfortunate situation. Then the second thing is that the leadership role which is given to the Sindh provincial government, they are also part of the problem, and they are not seen as an independent, and they are not seen as impartial players. So again, it raises a question mark. When your police department has been compromised, your provincial government has been compromised, that they are supporting, on one hand, they are supporting criminals in Liari. On the other hand, they have got conflict of interest.
Even if they're not, this is the sixth year they're in power. The failure speaks for itself.
So, I mean, both these institutions are compromised. Same way, I mean, people are raising fingers against MKM also about their role and conduct since 2008 till 2013, till the day they parted their ways with the People's Party government. So, it needs that, in the short term, yes, we need to have operation, we need to have targeted operation, but it must be done in such a fair, even-handed manner that, it is reflected. Again, I'm not talking in ambiguous terms.
But what's a fair and even-handed manner? They're saying they're completely fair.
No, there's a suggestion, there's a controversial suggestion.
Closing comments.
The thing is that given this political structure, it will be very difficult. So there has been some suggestions that why not impose governor rule in the province under the constitution. It allows that because we are passing through an extraordinary situation.
Okay.
And then bring that kind of leadership, that kind of administration, and then they should go all out against all political players who are responsible for the plight of Karachi, be it Pakistan People's Party, be it
beyond any political force being in
exactly. And one last thing I'd like to add is that the establishment, they have to, abandon that role, stop promoting one group of one set of criminals against the others. Unfortunately, that has been happening since early 90s, and it continues even today. When police officers arrest people, they'll receive a call from certain, officials that free that guy. They'll receive a call from ministers to free their criminals. So, I mean, that has to end.
Abdisha? See, my apologies. Interject. The phone calls he's talked about, they come from your party as well.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The phone calls, someone's arrested, phone calls
from ministers, from government officials, from various agencies.
That's the part of the system that's been going on for ages in Karachi. I think I don't know. In 1964, when there was firing on the Urdu-speaking community after the elections, then the case was taken by
Sure,
Rodad Khan, and since then it's become a habit over here. But you see, we very categorically and clearly said that, and we had performed also from 2002 in the previous Musharraf era also. We had performed, and Karachi, and Amir Saab himself has said that there was no or hardly any target killing. There was no phenomena of target killing then, by the crime rate, and it was the same police, same rangers, same governor, and same people around. But since 2008, it's the new government came in, and then Karachi centric force was created in order to keep it disturbed, and which is Aman Committee, and that is open and out in front of everybody. What we suggested to the PML government while we asking for the army was that these people have head money on them. These people have FIRs on them, and there's a lot of many criminals who belong to band organizations also, and certain non-state actors also in the same field. And we asked the army to come and start targeted action with those, and from those areas where it is already obvious, and the media has been reporting, and the newspapers have been talking about, even talk shows have been on this subject. So start from there. Instead of you go, what they did was they targeted MQM's workers, picked them up, and I know, being an MNA, because I go to the police station, I go to the jail, and I go to the courts also with them. What they do is, when the Rangers picks them up, beats them up for 2 days rigorously, throws them off at a police station, hands 1 kilo of hashish and one pistol, and asks the SHO to put on in the FIR these two sections, and then book him in. And most of our workers, 600 workers, have been arrested who are going through the same procedure now.
Okay. Maiza, closing comments.
I'm sure that they must have realized this when they were in the part of the government for 5 years, what the system is and how corrupt the system is and how things go about. But they never raised hue and cry about these things before. But at the same time, army is not the solution. Army is not the solution. PMLN is not going to derail democracy. PMLN is going to give the government that has been elected into power a chance to clean up the system. And if they can't, then if things go desperate, we might bring in army, but we can't just do that right now in just 3 months of the government that, we should bring in army. And they have, I don't know why MPM has just realized now after 5 years of government, and in fact 10 years of government, and now that their governor is still in government, that, the army is the solution now. Why now army is the solution? Why wasn't army the solution 5 years back or 4 years back? So I really think that they should be sincere in their efforts, and I think People's Party should be also sincere in their efforts to improve on the province as a whole. I mean, Karachi is an issue, but the whole province is going down the drain, and I believe that the institutions are free and fair now. Media is free, and they give in the real picture of what is actually happening and how each party is performing in each province. And I think time will tell how each government performs, and they will be voted out of power if they do not perform as expected.
Okay. Dasha?
When you talk of solutions, for example, the ball I've left in Ali's court today, and I think MQM should be thinking on those lines. The second thing is, when you say the police is politicized, of course the police is politicized. Therefore, right now the police may not be able to fulfill the requirements of a targeted operation. Therefore, you go to rangers. Then my friend just mentioned the fact that there could be governor's rule. I'm against governor's rule right now because it is anti-devolution. I think the government is there. When the MQM and the People's Party and the ANP government was there, we were appealing to them for relief. Similarly, this government should be given an opportunity, and until it fails, I think it should stay within the realm of democracy rather than something else. Now, the other thing is the MQM should have patience. For example, I agree with the fact, and Ali has mentioned a figure of 600 because I was in a talk show about an hour ago, and the figure given by Faisal Abidi was 108. So I don't know, maybe something has happened within the last 2 hours, but I'm not aware of that. So, and he said the figure, including the gentleman, the ex-MP who was arrested. Now, if there ever is an action in Karachi, keep in mind it cannot be totally without problems. There will be problems, and
Without
I would
agreement.
request, yes, and I would request the MQM and the People's Party and everybody, if you are interested in Karachi, we must have patience. We will be ready to fight with you if anything illegal or anything unjust is
But the
done.
recourse has to
But
be
at
legal.
the same time, the recourse has to be legal. Have patience, and again, avoid strikes, because Karachi is further bled if strikes are held.
Thank you very much, all of you, taking time out for my dear friend, very dear personal friend, Mr. Amir Zia. August 24, 2012, 13 people killed in 8 hours in Chicago. Sorry, 30 people, 13 shootings, just 30 minutes, 13 people killed in 30 minutes, 19 wounded. Number of murders exceeded 16% last year in Chicago. The world's biggest alpha crime cities is Caracas, Venezuela, with a murder rate of 130 per 100,000, whereas New York, Chicago, other cities has 19.4 murders per 100,000. Caracas has 130 murders per 100,000. I can bet you statistically Karachi is nowhere near that. If we just try to see crime as crime, and yes, of course, there is target killing.
Why
as well.
we compare with the worst
Hits are
cities?
hits.
I mean,
Hits, because we've been called the worst.
Crime is crime. That is
A
absolutely
hit is a
right.
hit. Be it political mafia, criminal mafia, land
no, you
mafia.
cannot
Hit is a
compare
hit.
apple and oranges.
No.
I mean, here
A hit-
it is politically motivated, it is
Sicilian,
sectarian, it is
Cosa
religious, it is
Nostra
ethnic.
is politics. So if,
So
no
if you-
offense, if our political parties are Cosa Nostra, that's fine. But Karachi is not the most dangerous mega city. Have a good night.